Alrighty, hello, welcome back to another Ohio State test standard review. Today we are talking about standard 8.F.1, our introduction into functions. Okay, so we talked about functions a bit during class. Um, the thing about functions is a function is any situation or any relation where uh, every input x has exactly one output, y. Or, in layman's terms, or the easier way that I like to think about it, x cannot repeat x cannot repeat. If there's anything you remember about functions today, it is that x cannot repeat. Okay? If you are being asked if something is a function, you care not about y. You do not care about y. You care only about x. So, for example, which set of ordered pairs represents a function? I'm going to check all my x values. This first choice, is it a function? No. Why? Because you have a repeating 2. Second choice, is this a function? -1, 0, 1, 2. Yes. It's B. Let's keep going. C, 1, 2, 1, 3. That's no, because you have a repeating 1. Finally, D, -1, -1, -1, -1. That's no, because they're all repeating. Okay, the fact that this 2 and this 2 repeat, irrelevant, because they're y values. You don't care about y. Okay, so the answer is B. Which graph does not represent a function of y in terms of x? So for a function on a graph, the way you check this is via the vertical line test. So what you do is you take a vertical line, as a straight vertical line, but it does its job, and you run it from left to right over your graph. And if it ever touches the line more than twice at the same or more than once at the same time, it is not a function. So this, good. This, choice C, good. Choice B, good. Choice D, oh, not good. It's perfectly overlaying it. So D is not a function because it fails the vertical line test. It is D. It fails the vertical line test because it is literally a vertical line. And if you were to try to put some of these points in perspective, if you were to put these in a table, this would be like, I don't know, 2, 2, and this would be 2, 3, and this would be 2, 4, and that's all repeating x's. So that's why. All right, this item has 2 parts. A group of words and a rule are given. The words 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. The input, which is your x, is the number of letters in the word. The output, which is your y, is the number the word represents. So we start with part A. Complete the table using the rule given. 6. Well, obviously your output's going to be 6. How many letters are in the word 6? 1, 2, 3. It's 3. 7. That represents 7. How many letters are in 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. 8. That represents 8. How many letters are in 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5. 9 represents 9. How many letters are in 9? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. 10 represents 10. How many letters are in 10? 1, 2, 3. 3. Okay? Part B, complete the statement. The table of values either represents or does not represent a function because of a variety of reasons. So, we check our x's. Do our x's repeat? Answer, yes. This 3 repeats with this 3. This 5 repeats with this 5. So this table of values does not represent a function. Does not represent a function because two different outputs are assigned to the same input. Two different outputs are assigned to the same input. Okay? When you think of functions, think of it like a machine. Okay? If I have a machine here, right? This is my input, and this is my output. Okay, for it to be a function, I should be able to predict what's going to come out at the other end of the machine. If I put in 4 for this relation, what's going to pop out? What's going to be the output? It's going to be 9, right? That works. However, if I put in 3, into the function machine, we don't know if it's going to come out with 6 or 10. So the machine breaks. The function machine doesn't work. So it's not a function. Does not represent a function because there are two different outputs, 6 and 10, to the same input, 3. Okay. Select all the tables with data that represent a function. So this, again, we're looking for repeating x's. If there's a repeating x's, it doesn't get a check mark. Look at this first one. Repeating 5, repeating 10, no check mark. Second one, 1, 2, 3, 4, they're all different. Get a check. Next one, 0, 1, 2, 3, all different. Gets a check. 5, 15, 15, uh-oh, that's repeating, doesn't get a check. 12, 18, 24, 24, uh-oh, repeating, doesn't get a check. Okay, so it's only this one. Now remember, select all. Select all means more than one right answer. More than one right answer. I'm going to keep banging this in because it's important to know that select all means more than one right answer. We have 2 right answers here. Okay? Brett creates a function of x with 7 points, each in a different location on the grid. He graphs 6 of the points as shown. Use the add point tool to show the location of a point that could be the 7th point of Brett's function. Okay, so 2 important rules. Okay, you're only adding 1 point. You're only adding 1 point. You're only adding 1 point. The state test client will let you add more than 1 point. Don't do that because you're only adding 1 point. You're adding the 7th point. Also, your point has to be in the graph. The state test will let you put your point out here for all it cares. Don't do that. That's wrong. Okay? So all you need to do is put a point somewhere where your line will pass the vertical line test. Okay? So, if you put it at 0, it will fail. If you put it at 1, it will fail. If you put it at 2, it will fail. Right? If I put a point, let me move this. Right? If I put a point here, and I bring my vertical line, it's going to touch 2 points at once, so it fails. Okay? You have to put it in a column where there's not already a point. For example, in, say, column 3 or column 4. Those are fine. Column 6 is fine. Okay? So just take your point and put it in a spot where there's no other points in that same column. And that's it. Some points of a function are plotted as shown. Select all the points that could be part of this function. So, again, select all. Probably more than one correct answer. I'm going to grab my vertical line because we're going to need it. All right, 1 comma 3. 1 comma 3 means we go right 1 up 3. Does that work for a function? No, because it makes us fail the vertical line test. We're touching 2 points at the same time. Okay. 4 comma 4. So that's right 4 up 4. Does this work? Yes, because that does not cause us to fail the vertical line test. So that gets a check. 6 comma 0. That's right 6, and then you don't move up or down. Does this work? That works just fine. Doesn't cause us to fail the vertical line test. So that gets a check. And what do you know? We have multiple correct answers. 7 2. Right 7, up 2. No other dots in this column. That's good. 9 7. Right 9, up 7. Uh-oh. When you go to get your vertical line, it's touching 2 points. So that doesn't work. So it is just these 3 points. Everything that makes it so that you don't have 2 points in the same column. All right. So that's going to wrap up this standard 8.F.1. And just remember the biggest thing with functions. X cannot repeat. You do not care about Y. When you're trying to figure out if something is a function, you could not care less about what Y is. You only care about X. So I'll be back with another standard. Until then, good luck on your state test.